The sermon scripture this morning is John 1, 9 through 13, found on page 1049 in the church Bibles. Please stand for the reading of the Bible. I am reading from the New American Standard Bible. John 1, beginning with verse 9. There was the true light, which came into the world and enlightens every man. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and those who were his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, even to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. The word of the Lord. Praise God.
Heavenly Father, give us wisdom and enlighten our worship as we learn truths about Jesus that allow us to live lives of peace. That truly, when we leave this place today, we will know what it means to be children of God. If we ask in Jesus' name, amen. You may be seated. Being raised not in a church, and then really truly, even the early years of being part of the Church of the Nazarene, we didn't really talk about the Advent season. We had Christmas stuff in the churches and things like that, but it's been really kind of cool over the course of the last 20 years to dive into this season of Advent with local churches, to walk through those 4 Sundays as we start talking about the coming of Christ. There's part of our mind that's wrapped up in waiting for Jesus, waiting for his coming again. But there's part of it that really ties into his coming the first time. The Advent season is where we will spend the next 4 Sundays. In fact, though we see Christmas things around us, and you're going to be in the stores, and you're going to hear plenty of Christmas music, in the church, Christmas, the season of Christmas, doesn't start until the evening of December 24th, Christmas Eve. We forget about that sometimes. And even though the season doesn't start until Christmas Eve, we tend to start focusing on the Christmas season as soon as November 1st gets here. The world helps us do that. Many of you are probably like my daughter Hannah. Hannah considers Thanksgiving dinner to be part of the Christmas season. I guess in her mind's eye, eating Thanksgiving turkeys is a Christmas tradition. Most of us, I've been to some of your homes during Christmas, I know we have these traditions. Some of them are traditions that we established on our own, perhaps as our children were growing up. This is something we're going to do. Others are traditions that were passed down to us over the years, over the generations. Maybe your Christmas traditions sort of wrapped up in the scenery, much like this over here to my right. A comfy chair, stockings hanging on a chimney, Christmas tree lit up with presents below the tree. You know, I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona. You all know that. I hope you never get tired of me saying that, because I can't make up stories of growing up in North Dakota, because it just didn't happen. But I grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, and in Christmas time in Phoenix is very different. You know, much of the time here when it's Christmas, there's snow on the ground, there's cold temperatures. Well, we have cold temperatures in Phoenix at Christmas too. It's about 65. You know, it's freezing too for those of us that are desert rats. But you can tell Christmas has come when the local businesses begin painting their windows. And they have paintings of snowmen with sombreros playing these little Spanish guitars and saguaro cactuses that have Christmas decorations on them. It's one of the traditions that Phoenicians have come to recognize over the years. There's Christmas in our home and in our neighborhood. And it's much like Christmas in your neighborhood. I can still recall that neighborhood for from 1974 through 1988 when we moved, the Ottomeyers lived next door. They always put these blue, every one of their Christmas lights, blue lights. And then next door to them were the Gelnets. The Gelnets, they rotated green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, red light. My dad was not so picky. Just put the colors up, and there were colored lights. And throughout our neighborhood, there were different kinds of lights, different kinds of things to remind us of the Christmas season. And whether you live in Phoenix, Arizona, or right here in Oklahoma, throughout the country, throughout the world, lights, outdoor lights on our homes and businesses have come to form a Christmas tradition, kind of an extension of the Christmas tree in our homes. We didn't have the lights that we had in the 1700s. And in Germany, where this tradition kind of started, the Germans would place these little bitty candles on their trees. Sometimes they would use melted wax to make them stick. Sometimes they would use pins to keep them there to light the Christmas tree. Years later, Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, and he figured out how to make some Christmas lights that stuck outside so that people coming by his laboratory could see them. And it wasn't a few years later that one of his apprentices, Edward Johnson, invented what would become to us the modern day Christmas lights that we would decorate our houses and trees with. From those candles on those first Christmas trees to the flickering LED lights that kind of dance to jingle bells around the neighborhood, light is one of our enduring Christmas tradition. Light. Light is a hard thing to describe, isn't it? I mean, when you were kids and you were in science class and they were talking to you about light, and they talked to you about things like photons and waves and particles, you know, we could answer them on a test, but we couldn't really wrap our minds around what light is. And yet here in the first chapter of John's Gospel, he gives us a more and different information than we ever got in science class. Look again, beginning at verse 9 in John chapter 1. There was the true light, which coming into the world enlightens every man. He was in the world, and the world was made through him. The light in John's Gospel is not a light that has to do with photons. It's not a light that has to do with particles and waves. It's not a light that requires a bulb or a flame or neon gas. It is obvious as we read this chapter that the light is a person. Throughout the passage, it will refer to the light in terms not of it or its, but of he, of him, of his. The light is a person, and we come to realize very quickly that the person is clearly who? Our Lord Jesus. Yes. Jesus himself would say later on in John chapter 8, I am the light of the world. Isaiah 9 chapter 2 kind of serves as a basis for an Old Testament prophecy that's fulfilled in Jesus. And Matthew 4 verse 6, referring back to the passage in Isaiah, says this, that people who were sitting in darkness saw a great light. And those who were sitting in the land and shadow of death, upon them a light dawned. John's Gospel says that this light is the true light. The true light. There are two words in Greek. They sound very similar. They look very similar. They both can mean the word true. The first word is aletheus, which means true as opposed to false. It's the kind of true that you would circle on a true or false question on a test at school that said Thomas Jefferson was the third president of the United States. And it's okay to talk about Thomas Jefferson because he lived a long time ago, so there's no more junk about him floating around on Facebook and getting angry over the politics and stuff like that. Now, if the question said that Thomas Jefferson was the fifth president of the United States, we would know that that was not true, it was false. That is aletheus. But the word John uses here, in this chapter, the word he uses that we have translated as true is not aletheus, but is alethinos, which means genuine, sincere, real, the real thing. It's the opposite of what is unreal what is imperfect or defective or frail or uncertain. It would be the word used to describe real sugar instead of saccharin. It's the word that would be described for a real, true wooden fir tree out in the woods, other than a plastic tree on a stage. Real, true, genuine. The word is listed 33 times in the New Testament, and all of those times, except for 5, come from the hand of John in either his gospel or his writings or the book of Revelation. Luke uses the word to describe the real riches of the kingdom of God in Luke chapter 16, verse 11. Paul uses the word to describe the real God compared to the worthless idols in 1 Thessalonians 1:9. Does this sound as funny as I think it sounds? What's going on? Here, turn that down quite a bit. We'll mess with the buttons later, okay? We good? Thank you. Is that better? All right, a little bit better. I just kind of felt like I was turning a Daffy Duck. Serious problem. Sorry about that. Never give a microphone to a guy with ADD. Let me turn this thing off, actually. Is this better? Yes. Okay. Before and during the days of Jesus, and even today, many have claimed to be the one to listen to, the one that we should follow. And many of those people prove to kind of be some sort of piper, leading people into destruction or falsehood. But there is no light like the light that is Jesus. Only Jesus is the light that gives us a picture of what God is. You've heard that before. I want you to turn your Bibles to John chapter 8. This is the passage I referred to a little bit ago, John chapter 8, verse 12. It says, then Jesus again spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in the darkness, but will have the light of life. Only Jesus gives the light of life. The scriptures love to use the metaphor of light. John really loves it. And when light is used throughout the scriptures, it's obvious that light is something that is meant to be seen. So you taught your kids that song, this little light of mine. I kid you so love to sing that song, and you get to that one part, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. You know, get that little finger going. Hide it under a bushel. No, it's not meant to be hidden. It's meant to be seen. The light that is Jesus has come to be seen, or as John has put it, the light that is Jesus enlightens. Enlightened. And the word for enlightened is photizo. Photizo is the word that gives us our English word photography and those kinds of things. It means that which is seen because of the light. That which is seen because of the light. Jesus has come to show things because of his light, to enlighten us. The evolution of the modern day safe Christmas tree lights, it didn't come without a price. You can imagine that those Germans in the 1700s using candles on their tree, especially if they had kids in the house, there were going to be a few problems. Sure enough, they kind of understood that. So when getting ready for the Christmas season, before they had those candles all on the tree, what did they have near the tree? Pails of water and sand, just in case something was going to happen. The electrical light came out, made it a little bit better. Then there was a fellow by the name of Albert Sadaka. Albert Sadaka and his brothers had this electrical company. And they kind of came out with the idea of safe Christmas lights because one terrible Christmas tree tragedy destroyed much of New York City. We love the safe lights on our trees and our houses. It makes us feel more comfortable knowing that the house has less chance to burn down. But hear me on this. Jesus Christ is not a safe light. You can't confine him. He does not glow softly, but he burns wildly and he burns hot.
and he has come to be seen. He has come to enlighten everyone. That's what the scriptures. Jesus, the true light, came to enlighten everyone. Hide under a bushel? No way, Jose. I'm going to let it shine. I'm going to let it shine. Jesus came to offer light so that every human being can have the light of life. He came to show us the way to God the Father. He came to shed light on the right way to salvation instead of having us stumbling around to the wrong way. He came to get personal. I don't know about you, but I read the comments almost every day. It sure beats a lot of the junk that's happening out there. And one of the comments is called High and Lows. Been around for 60 years or so. And one of the characters in that comic strip is a little 1-year-old baby. She's been 1 year old since before I was born. Her name is Trixie. And Trixie has this incredible love for her best friend, Sunbeam. Sunbeam is not a teddy bear or a dog. Sunbeam is a sunbeam. It's the light that comes through the window. That's her friend. She loves the light. She knows that she hears her grandparents calling themselves baby boomers, but she says she's a baby beamer. She hears her brother talk about this actress who is a hottie, and she says she has nothing compared to my sunbeam. She sees herself in a real relationship with this light. Good old Trixie. You see, Trixie knows you can't avoid the impact of the light. You can't avoid it. Now, Genesis 1 tells us of the creation of light. And you ever read that story? It tells us of the creation of light before it tells us of the creation of the sun, of the moon, of the stars. John 1, in the passage, will verify what Colossians 1:16 says, "For by him all things were created, both in the heavens and on earth, visible and invisible. The true light, that is Jesus, was involved in the creation of the physical light." You start thinking about that. Wow. All things were created through Jesus Christ, the true light. And we can't avoid the impact of the true light. There is going to be a reaction to the light, but that reaction is not always positive or good. Look at verses 10 and 11. Man, I forget to turn my pages and I get really mixed up. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and those who were his own did not receive him. The animal world is an incredible team. There are animals all across the globe who, for whatever scientific reasons, they've come to live away from the light. For example, the paradoxical frog. It sounds like a cartoon character. The paradoxical frog lives in South America. Never sees the light of day. In case you're wondering why it's called paradoxical frog, is its tadpole is 10 inches long. The frog is just normal. Kind of a weird deal. Yeah, kind of a weird deal. But this paradoxical frog, beautiful in color, you think you'd want to be seen, you'd want to show its true colors, but it lives in the dark all the time in South America. The term that John uses to describe folks like that is the world. They are people who reject the true light of Jesus. Like the paradoxical frog, they are darkness dwellers. The world, they are darkness dwellers. The first time John uses that word, the world, is here in verse 10. And in that verse alone, he uses it 3 different times and 3 different meanings. When he says that the light was in the world, he's talking about who we call planet Earth. When he says that the world was made through him, he's talking about planet Earth and its inhabitants. But when he says the world did not know him, now he's talking about those who have not grasped on to salvation, those who are darkness dwellers. God has always given opportunity to be enlightened. God has always, from day one of the human being's existence, has given opportunity for us to be enlightened. But there have always been those who have rejected. They can look at creation and they can see with their physical eyes. They can look into the deep things of the mind and of the soul, and they can think in spiritual eyes. They can see in intellectual eyes. Immanuel Kant said that by seeing the stars above him and the moral law within him, he came to believe in the existence of God. However, millions, billions of people have seen that and have felt that and have still rejected the truth. Why? They are darkness to others. One of the saddest lines in Scripture at all, there are a whole bunch of them, is the line we just read, that the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and those who were his own did not receive him. How do you folks feel with rejection? Can you imagine? In the immediate context, Jesus came to Israel. He was a Jew in a Jewish land. He participated in the Jewish custom. He was the fulfillment of the Jewish prophecies, and they turned his back. And in the general sense, we don't receive. You see, just like he came to the Jewish world, he came to the world, our existence. He walked the same kind of walk that we walked. He had the same temptations that we had. He dealt with life, with many of the things in life that we deal with. And he did so mercifully. And he did so in forgiveness. And he did so with truth. And yet we reject it. We didn't receive it. One of the consistencies of the human race is that we have gotten pretty well used to pushing away the truth of God. In Jeremiah chapter 7, verses 25 and 26, God says to Israel, I have sent to all my servants, the prophets, daily rising early and sending them. Yet they did not listen to me or incline their ear, but stiffened their neck. About 300 years before Jesus was born, the book known as Enoch, a non-scriptural book that full of some pretty interesting words. Enoch says this: wisdom went forth to make her dwelling among the children of men, and found no dwelling. Hello? Wisdom found no dwelling place. Many of you love the old Fanny Crosby songs. She's got some great songs. You know, Fanny Crosby was lost her sight very, very young as a baby. And yet you read her words and sing her song, and you thought she could see better than anybody because of the way she described the Christian life. My favorite song of the cross, probably my favorite Fanny Crosby song, is Near the Cross. Second verse says, near the cross a trembling soul, love and mercy found. There the bright and morning star sheds its beams around me. Here is a woman who with her physical eyes may have seen life as a child, but surely had no recollection of seeing the warmth, the radiance of light. She can see the star, the morning star, and its beams around her. From what I understand, South America gets sunlight. It gets sunny there, plenty of sunlight in South America. The paradoxical frog deliberately chooses the darkness. God in Christ has brought enlightenment to everyone, but some deliberately choose the darkness. Don't be like the darkness dwellers. Don't be like the world. Don't be the paradoxical frog. But you see now, there are others. There are others who did receive. Look at verses 12 and 13 if you would. But as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become children of God, even to those who believe in his name, who was born not of blood, nor the will of flesh, nor the will of man, but of God. There were those who did receive him, and here the word receive is a different Greek word than the word used in the previous verse to describe those who did not receive him. There, in that word verse, the word means to obtain that which was sent. Like you received a message from somebody. But obviously, they did not receive that message. But here, the word receive, used in verse 12, means to carry away or to make one's own. Years ago, probably 10 years ago, just for those of you that don't know me well enough to know that I've been a lifetime Cubs fan, and not one of these guys that just hop on the bandwagon here the last couple of years. A friend of mine, a fellow Cubs fan, Harry Duncan, went to Chicago, found this beautiful jersey, and brought it home. Didn't ask for it, didn't pay for it. He left this jersey for me at the church, and with an old note saying it was from him. As soon as Harry gave me that jersey, I received it. And the minute that I received it, that jersey became mine. You've all received a gift before, so you go, oh, really, you should have. And that's very sweet, and that's humble, and I believe that. But as soon as you receive that gift, it becomes yours. You can carry it away. You make it your own, and that is the word that John uses for those who receive Jesus. When we receive Jesus, he truly becomes ours, and we place our identity in him, and everything that we are is wrapped up in who he is. In the 1940s and 1950s, Christmas lights became more affordable, and more people began to hang them on their homes and businesses, and in so doing, they began to identify themselves with the spirit of Christmas. Neighborhoods began to shine. And maybe you've experienced this. You go through some neighborhoods and all the houses are well with Christmas lights. But you ever been down that one dark street where nobody has any lights on except for that one house? And even if it's one strand of simple white Christmas lights, that one house shines in a dark neighborhood. We complain every now and then about how awful the world is getting, and it's getting worse. That Ryan told me yesterday that his generation is the worst generation to live. Yeah, and Mother just said amen. Must be some truth. However, I'm not going to disagree with you. It's hard out there, isn't it? Things get rough. But can you imagine what the world would be like if nobody had received it? The hopelessness of a world full of humans that don't carry on the true light of Jesus. I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine. One of our favorite parts of the Christmas Eve service, when we're gathered together, kind of a smaller number, we gather in close, and we all have these little plastic candles. You know, and the kids are always going, this kind of like candle character, making sure that when they're actually lit, everything's okay. But we're all gathered together, we turn the lights off, and the only light in the church is the light of the Advent candle. And I take a little bit of candle, and I come, and we light one person's candle, and they light the next person's candle, and they light the next person's candle. And that Christmas candle lighting part is very cool, because in a real way, we begin to see the power of just one light, of just one person who has received that little flame. When we receive Christ, we obtain certain rights. And oh, we love our rights, don't we? I hope you love your rights. I hope you embrace your rights. You remember those old cop shows? I don't know if they still do that in the cop shows. I stopped watching them. But when I'm in the 70s, it seemed like every cop show, you always remember the line, all right, read him his rights. And listen, there were a whole lot of rights in there. Read him his rights. Let me read you your rights, at least some of your rights. You have the right to receiver of true life. You have the right to be children. You. Oh, you. I'm looking at all y'all. Okay, trying to make eye contact with all y'all, okay, so help me out there. Gotcha. You're like, what? All y'all have the right to become children. Just let that sink in. Our status as God's children has nothing to do with our birth. Has nothing to do with adoption papers. Has nothing to do with racial background. Has nothing to do with DNA testing. Doesn't even have anything to do with emotional tolerance. It has everything to do with something else. You see, our status as God's children is tied up in our reception to Jesus. Have you received Jesus? If you say, yeah, I have, I've received Jesus. If you have received Jesus, guess what? You have the right to be a child. Fill in that blank on your piece of paper there. Put your name there because that belongs to you. It's totally God's doing. We don't deserve it. We don't fight for it. We can't steal it. It all comes from God. You know, some of us were raised with the understanding that we were accidents. Our parents weren't married when we were conceived and born. I'm one of those kids. Grew up thinking I was an accident, that I was a mistake. You know, there are no accidents in the kingdom of God. There are no mistakes in your being a child of God. Oh, preacher, you don't know the rotten things I have done. True. You don't tell me your rotten things, I won't tell you my rotten things. Deal? We don't deserve it. We're still children. It's an awful theology. Yet I think it serves a great point. But all of a sudden it didn't work today. It's something I like to think of, even though the theology is just kind of weak. But if we're children of God, and we liken that to how we behave with our children and grandchildren, the meaningfulness behind that begins to take shape. You enjoy watching the video with your kids. Your laptop has pictures of your kids. Your grandkids come across the screen. You have little pictures of your kid on your phone. You look up the pictures to show your kid. You hang up their silly little drawings that look like nothing, but it's supposed to be some perfect thing on your refrigerator where everybody can see it. Why? Because they're your child. And you love them. And so in my mind's eye, I kind of think that if God has a refrigerator, your silly little picture. And if God has a cell phone, he's whipping it out to show everybody you. Because your picture is mine, because you are children of God. God sent Jesus because he wants you to be his child. The passage will close, in verse 14, where John will tell us that the Word, that is Jesus Christ, the Word, the true light, that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And that phrase, for those of you that know your Greek, that phrase literally means that Jesus pitched his tent with us. He pitched his tent with us. He came to be one of us, the God who created us, who could have distanced us from himself because of how awful we were. He sent the true light, Jesus, to pitch his tent among us. And that's why we love, I don't know if you listened or read the word to the screen of the song the girls were playing it off. We love that word, God with us. We love that word when you describe Jesus because he identifies with us. You know, he's always with us. Jesus became in a real life. In a dark place. In a real dark place. In our real dark place. And that true light still shines. Just as we often place our electrical Christmas trees out in front of the window, you know. Have you ever go to houses and you go, watch, this is where they place their Christmas tree? You know, because that's where it faces the big window. You know, we do that. Well, back in Germany, of course, you know, those people took those candlelit trees, and they would place them as close as they could in the window. Sometimes they didn't have a tree, and they would place a little Christmas candle in the window. And it became a symbol. It was their way of saying, I'm a Christian. And if you're a Christian, you're welcome here. In fact, you could say that the lights in the windows served as an invitation, that those who saw the lights were invited to participate in the life of the light that is Jesus. Good illustration. The Apostle Paul in Philippians 2:15, a passage that talks about us being children of God nonetheless. He goes on to say that in this crooked generation, we, the children of God, appear as lights. We shine up a dark place, like that one house in the dark neighborhood that has that silly strand of lights. At least it's light and it's doing its job. Told you that Jesus says himself, I am the light of the world. We've read that twice or 3 times. But that's not the only time Jesus used the term light of the world. If you have your Bibles, turn over to Matthew's Gospel, chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. Beginning in verse 14. You are the light of the world. Who's he talking to? Us. You are the light of the world. The city on the hill cannot be hidden, nor does anyone light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on the lampstand. And it gives light to all who are in the household. Oh, I love this. Let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Woo! Let your light shine. You've received this true light, Jesus. And because you've received Jesus, the true light, you have a light to share. An old hymn from the early 1900s says, brighten the corner where you are. Not brighten someone else's corner. Don't have to go out and light up the whole world, but brighten the corner where you are. Do what you can do. That's great advice. Shine so brightly that the folks on the corner where you are will need sunrises. Hide under a bushel, no. I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Would you stand and worship as we sing Hallelujah?